Yeah, hello.
Hi, Dave Lawrence, please.
Hey, what's going on? Is this Alex?
Yeah, Alex Lifeson calling.
Right, cool,
Hi,
man.
sorry I'm a little late. Everything got kind of, a few minutes later on each one of these interviews. So.
I know how it goes, dude.
But you're the last one, so you got me.
Awesome. Very cool. And your buddy Dave Lawrence here, joining me now to talk about the new Rush Spirit of Radio Greatest Hits 74 to 87 album is none other than their highly respected guitarist. I am pleased to welcome Rush's Alex Lifeson. Hey, Alex.
Oh, thank you, Dave. That's very kind.
Well, you're totally deserving of it, my brother. Thanks for being available.
My pleasure.
So how involved in the track selection were you for this new Rush Spirit of Radio Greatest Hits?
Well, frankly, not very much. This is a back catalog that Mercury Records has for the period that we were with them up until 1990. So they're kind enough to involve us to a certain extent. They let us know what the songs that they wanted to choose for, the running order, the remastering, but we were involved in the packaging. Neil was involved with Hugh Syme, who's done our covers since Caress of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
So it maintained that continuity there. And they've done a beautiful package. They've included a bonus DVD with 5 videos from Chronicles on it.
Yeah, I was checking that out. That's a really cool thing to throw that in.
Yeah, so that's a limited edition. So it's a really nice thing to do. I think they've done a terrific job, but our input is very, very limited on something like this.
Well, regardless of how much of a hand you had in putting this particular collection together, I think the record really shows how your work as a guitar player has evolved through the years. I've always been curious what some of the influences and motivations were for you in the early years with that really heavy, chunky sound you had on the first few records.
Yeah, well, certainly my influences came from the mid to late 60s. Pete Townsend, Jimi Hendrix, of course, Jimmy Page, the biggest influence on me, Eric Clapton when he was with Cream. That's where my beginnings were as a young teenager. And as I grew, my influences were a lot more diversified. Steve Howe from Yes and Steve Hackett from Genesis. A lot of great guitarists that I respected a lot in that period.
It's all the suspects I expect in there. Let me just drop a couple names just to see where you stand on them. Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath.
Not so much, actually. I was never a big Sabbath fan. I was a big... oh, my God, I've forgotten their name now.
Purple?
Deep Purple fan.
Richie Blackmore.
Yeah, Richie Blackmore. I mean, they were kind of the competing bands at that time in the very early 70s.
Yes, they were.
And I respected Tony Iommi's work in Sabbath, but it was, for me, at the time, it was a little one-dimensional.
How about Tommy Bolin?
Not really. I was more interested in the heavier, harder side.
Right, yeah, and you showed it on those records too, man. Riffs like By Tour and the Snow Dog. And probably one of my very favorite things, and I'm so happy I can talk to you about this, Alex. It's not on the new collection. My favorite Rush song of all time comes from a record you mentioned, which is Caress of Steel, and that would be the Necromancer.
Oh, right.
What's the, where is that fallen? Like, how did that come to be? That is one of the most powerful Rush songs.
Well, the beginnings of that were really in By Tour and the Snow Dog. It was on Fly By Night that we experimented with that sort of thing on By Tour, a song that was broken down into sections.
Like an epic.
Like a mini epic. And that really led to Caress of Steel, to the Fountain of Lamneth, to attacking one whole side. And it was very experimental for us.
And I love that whole side of the record, too. Don't get me wrong. It's just, I love the Fountain of Lamneth. I'm just much more tuned into the Necromancer.
Yeah, well, the Necromancer really directly followed By Tour because it was broken down as a mini epic and went through those different stages. And ultimately, it all leads to 2112, I think.
And how did you get that crazy tone that you had in that solo in the Necromancer? You just had the most outrageous tone back then.
Yeah, I used to use the wah pedal a lot, set on kind of a mid-level, depending on what tone I wanted. But, you put the wah pedal on and you bring it back a little bit, and it gives kind of a nasally, growly, nasty sound.
Dude, you did have a growly, nasty sound. It was something else on those records.
Yeah.
Gets me excited just thinking about it all these years later. As I go through this album, which is a fantastic collection of songs on this Spirit of Radio Greatest Hits album, it makes me think of a person that you and I sort of have in common. When I was in college, I had a professor named Donna Halper.
Oh, my God, really?
And Donna Halper, probably a lot of people listening may not know this, and I'd rather have you tell the story, but my understanding is she was very influential in your career.
Oh, absolutely, she was. We were, playing in Canada for 6 years, playing, originally high school dances and drop-in centers and things like that when we were 15 years old. When we turned 18, that same year, the drinking age was lowered to 18 from 21. So we went from playing, a couple of school dances a month to playing 6 days a week in clubs. After a couple of years of that, we finally managed to save up enough money to go into the studio and record. We recorded the first album after hours in a downtown studio when we could get cheap time.
Is this in Toronto?
Yeah, in Toronto. At Eastern Sound was the studio.
Okay.
And we had very limited cash. We were playing in the bars till 1 o'clock, pack up the gear, go into Eastern Sound from 2 till 8 in the morning when their sessions began. And we recorded the album in 2 days that way. Then we recorded a few songs. And so we had this release in Canada. When I say Canada, I mean more of a local market in and around Toronto.
Right there in Toronto.
Yeah. And a friend of ours who worked at WIA sent down a copy to Donna, and Donna was program director at WMMS in Cleveland. And she put it on late night and got great phone response, and then followed it up the next day again, and again got great phone response. In turn, she called Cliff Bernstein, who was at Mercury Records at that time. This was in the summer of 1974. And she said, you should check out this band from Canada. I'm getting amazing response on them. The record's not available here. I think she sent him the copy, or he got a copy somehow. And within days, they made us an offer.
Amazing.
Yeah. It was really Donna's work that got it going.
So my buddy from my freshman and sophomore years in college, Donna Halper, had quite the influence on your career.
Oh, yeah. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, she's a good person.
Yeah.
From that same era, Alex, quickly, if you could, I know that a band that always had a difficult time when they went out on road with openers or when they had to open for people was Kiss, because they had such a production,
right.
And there may have been a lot of egos behind the scenes even involved. But I recall, and I could be wrong, and you'll correct me if so, that when Rush toured with Kiss in 1975, that you guys had a great rapport.
We had so much fun with them. We were, you have to understand at that time, we were both I won't even say up and coming. We were both new bands. We didn't have much of a following, so the audiences were generally small. We played small venues, anywhere from 2 to about 5,000 seat halls.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very exciting. We were all so young, early 20s and just barely 20, and it was really, really exciting, and we got along really well. And we worked a lot. We would play 8 shows in a row to have a day off, play 9 shows, have a day off, that sort of thing, and traveled everywhere. And we got very close. And as things built for both of us, we went in different directions. But that, I have some great memories of working with those guys in that period. It was a very, very exciting time. And I think we suited them as well. They headlined and we opened, but we put on a tight, hard-rocking set. So I think we were a really good warm-up.
And they speak fondly of it.
Yeah, well, that's good. I'm glad that they do. We have not been in touch in many, many years.
But of all the bands from the mid-'70s, because I've spent some time researching the Kiss phenomenon, and the tour with you guys is the one where both bands just seem, there's a lot of glee, there's a lot of good energy.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. How many times have you gotten out here to perform in Hawaii, Alex?
We've only been out there once. I think it was in 1984 when we played in Honolulu. We did a couple of shows there. I've been back to Hawaii a few times with my wife.
Oh, yeah?
It's the only time we played. Oh, yeah, I love it there.
Cool. Where have you visited?
We were up in Princeville a few years ago, and then we went to Maui last year for 2 weeks.
Excellent, dude.
Yeah.
Well, you got some friends here now at 105.9 The Big Kahuna right here in Honolulu. So.
Yeah, I've got somebody to visit.
You certainly do. Finally, Alex, if you could see one performer, any one performer of your choice, whether you've seen them before or not, who would it be and why?
Anyone?
Any one performer, whether living or dead, that you either have as an inspiration or you've wanted to see and couldn't, or even if you saw and had a great time.
Geez, I don't know. You know what? I think I'd like to see Elvis Presley, although I've never been a big fan of his. I think that would be really cool to see what kind of energy he put off stage in his earlier years.
Yeah, me too.
Just to see what the band sounded like, what his presence was like, the energy, because you don't get it when you watch it on a movie or a concert tape or something.
Right.
Same with the Beatles. You know, brilliant pop music that they wrote. But I wonder what they were like as a live band. Like maybe when they played in Germany, in Hamburg.
The Star Club.
Were they a hot band back then?
Right.
I don't know.
That's interesting. Well, you've definitely chosen ones that would certainly be great to see live.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate getting some time with you, Alex. The new CD is Rush, The Spirit of Radio, Greatest Hits, 74 to 87. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, Alex.
My great pleasure, Dave. Thank you. Hi, this is Alex Lifeson of Rush, and you're listening to my good buddy, Dave Lawrence.
Alex, you're a champ, dude.
Okay, man.
I appreciate you being gracious like that. Was that an okay interview?
Yeah, it was great. It was excellent.
You like the topics and stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Good questions.
Cool. Be safe. God bless you. Good luck in the future, dude.
Same to you. Thanks.
Take care, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Bye.